Welcome to Third Shot Podcast, where we share our passion for the game and bring the pickleball community together. You can find us on our website at thirdshotpodcast.com or on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Third Shot Podcast. We're also on Twitter at Third Shot Pod. So go ahead and check us out if you haven't already. I'm here with Uncle Greg and Russ.
How you doing, Bridgie? Hey,
To
Russ.
kick this off.
You're getting that shot ready quick there, Bridgie.
I know, it's been
Are
a
you
long
ready?
day.
I'm ready.
All right. Enjoy.
Cheers.
You said it's a long day. What have you been doing?
Well, this whole week has been in preparation for the fall semester to start. So, although I love our podcast so much and spending so much time recording with you guys, my day job pays the bills, and that's where all of my energy has been going this week.
We all have day jobs. Nobody's ever asked us, but all three of us have day jobs that are more than full-time, I think.
Yes, beyond full-time.
Russ, how has your day jobs been going?
Beeswax, man. It's great.
Yeah.
It's fun. I got the little bee behind me. I don't know if you guys see that, but
I can't see.
Little bee hiding back here.
Is that the official
It's not. I was in Vegas actually, and I found the little bee guy. At some store that I was out there, and I'm like, oh, I should get this and throw it in the background at the office. It'd be kind of cool as I'm doing meetings and whatnot. And so I got that. I put it back there, right? But the problem was on the flight, so they had like wrapped it up so it didn't get all messed up. Yeah, no, security didn't like that. Like, what is this, a cookie?
Of course.
no.
What is it? Like hitting it against the thing. I'm like, it might scratch, it might break. It's a
go easy, guys. Go easy.
I felt so silly bringing home a bee from Las Vegas, but
well, you're gonna fit right in when we have Gregory Storm back on from Rain and Wind Pickleball.
That's true.
Because he donates to the
Yes.
bee community. He has
I
the bee
know.
theme going through all of his
Yeah.
paddles, and so
I know. We'll see.
Beeswax and Rain and Wind. Yeah. It's perfect.
I've got to get one of their paddles because then everybody at work will be like, "Oh, you're all in on this." Both pickleball
You are
and
the
beeswax.
guy.
How about you, Greg? How's the day?
The day job has been hectic.
Hectic?
Yeah, I always kind of keep you updated on what's going on in the day job, and yeah, it's been a lot. But
that time of the year, it sounds like.
It is. But that's why I look forward to doing this podcast with the two of you, because it really just cheers me up. It's not that the other thing has me sad or anything, but it just refreshes me when I get to look at the two of you and we get to talk pickleball and we have some fantastic guests on. And today, I'm not introducing the guest yet, but he's a lot of fun. Just to tease a little bit of what's coming up. This guy's a lot of fun. So
it's sort of in the information that you sent me, and I there's a video included in today's podcast.
Ooh.
But the information you sent me takes me back to like my radio days, like
really
the really fun stuff of radio days. So I think this one's definitely gonna be a fun one today to and I mean, hey, I just have to listen in and laugh.
So nobody on this podcast knows about your radio days. Tell us a little bit about what you do on radio.
A little bit of
everything. Had a declarated experience in radio.
I did all kinds of stuff in radio. It was totally fun. For the kids that are listening, the radio is this thing that you have in your car. It's got a dial, different channels. Music just appears out of nowhere. But I did production. I did marketing. I was a little bit of on-air stuff. Did like the public affairs weekend show thing. Did all kinds of stuff. And then I realized like I was like, okay, well, why is it that half the people here like can afford lunch and half of them can't? What's going on here? And realized that the radio sales thing might be a way to go. So I even did radio sales. So I did a little bit of everything. I sold air. It was fun.
Yeah, and I'm giving you. I know you don't like to brag, but I'm giving you permission. Name drop a little bit. Who did you work with?
I worked with a few Bay Area names. I mean, Sarah and Vinny at Alice. That's nice. And then Don Blue, and this guy that I don't know. Some people know Ryan Seacrest. I was his producer for a little bit.
That's huge.
Yeah, that was a fun year actually. When he was only in the Bay Area for about a year, and he left. He got a phone call for this talent show in LA. That's all I knew about it. I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. And the
And
rest
look
is
what that
American
talent show
Highlight
turned
history.
into.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in the studio when Merv Griffin called him because he actually hosted a game show for Merv years ago. And I wasn't even on the phone with Merv Griffin, and I was so excited that call was happening right in the studio. So there's all kinds
That's
of
so cool.
kind of cool stuff that happened. Radio sounds cool and all, right? But I do have to tell this story just now that I'm on a roll. You said permission to brag.
Yeah.
I got to meet, so I loved the Brady Bunch. And in fact, my first cat was named Cindy because, Cindy Brady, right? Loved the
That's
Brady Bunch. That
cute.
was my show. And one of
Was
my
it a
first
blonde cat?
crushes. No, actually, black
It-
black with like the little white thing here. I don't know why.
little
Like a
tuxedo
little
cat.
tuxedo cat, but no, it was named Cindy. But I had a crush on Marsha. So one day I'm doing production. I'm inside of a studio, and somebody comes into the studio, and I was listening to the show that was going on, just kind of in the background, and I hear that Marsha's on. Maureen McCormick is being interviewed on the radio, and I'm thinking it's done over the phone because most guests are over the phone. Well, no, she's right there. So somebody tells me in the studio, "Hey, if you want to meet Maureen McCormick, you should go to the conference room or go to the break room." I'm like, she's not really here. They're just messing with me. I open the studio door that I'm in, and she's literally walking right by me. And I say to Marsha Brady, that is literally what came out of my mouth. I couldn't come up with it. I was so like starstruck and just like, what?
Was that the first time you ever saw Star Trek? You couldn't get the words out?
That was the only time.
Only time.
Like there's been plenty of celebrities that I've met that I'm totally fine with, Celine Dion, megastar, right? Like I had just a
Wow.
conversation with her, like like I do with you. Like it was nothing. Just because, you like become used to it. But when you see somebody right in front of you that you've had a crush on, like, when you were little, and then I guess it would be the same if, I don't know, maybe Alyssa Milano or Jessica Alba or something, somebody that I had a crush on way back when, or whatever. There was that, and then just knowing that she was always there, like that was an odd thing for me. So I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty cool to actually meet your adolescent crush, right? In person,
Right.
walking right by you. Richie, who
Yeah.
was your adolescent crush?
So back when the Hansons were a boy band group, they were like right before I
Nice.
think Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Uh-huh.
And I had the biggest crush on the young one. I think his name was Zach. I had
Okay.
posters up in my room, the bop stuff. Oh, Zach, so dreamy.
So it's the boy bands.
It
My
is, I
wife,
get
it was
you.
all about New Kids on the Block.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the people I knew back then, it was most of the girls I knew growing up, it was New Kids on the Block. Greg, what was
Yeah.
the
What was
the
yours?
boy band, and also what was the
My
crush?
boy
What was the boy band that was big back then? Which boy
Well,
band
my
was it?
boy
Because there's always a
band
boy band.
was New Edition, but I
New
didn't have a
Edition.
crush on
Oh
Bobby
yeah.
Brown, even though
Right.
that's my prerogative,
Right.
but I did not have a crush on Bobby Brown.
So who was the first crush for you?
The first crush, man, I want to say Olivia Newton-John from Greece.
Oh, from
I
Greece.
want to say
Yeah.
she was, and if I actually got to walk by her early on, I would have been, tongue-tied just like you. I'm like, Sandy, good Sandy, bad
Oh,
Sandy, I don't care.
you start singing "You're the One That I Want." Ooh, ooh.
But I never named any pet Sandy or Olivia.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, wait a second. Now
Uh-oh.
it's kind of bringing. I also had a crush on Christy Brinkley, and I
Uh-huh.
did name a dog Christy because she was blonde.
Okay. Well, there you
Who's
go.
Christy
So
Brinkley? Was she an
she was
actress?
a model. Yeah, she was
Yeah.
like one of the first supermodels.
She was married to Billy Joel, and you know the song "Uptown Girl"?
Mhm.
Yep.
That song's about her,
And she was in the video.
Oh.
and she was in the video. Yeah, I actually I think it's about her. I know she was in the video. I'm pretty sure it was about her. but
It was.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
documented. It was
Nice.
about her. So anyway, yeah, Christy
Awesome.
Brinkley, but I think the first was Olivia Newton-John.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we're segueing over to music, and we definitely have a guest that's going to talk to us about music today. Tell us, Greg.
Well, I mentioned earlier that our next guest is so much fun. He does so much content online about pickleball, including music. So when we come back, we are going to have the head pro at Sherwood Country Club, Miguel, join us. So come back and be ready to be entertained. Miguel is right around the corner. Welcome back to Third Shot. Please check us out on YouTube, especially on this episode. You're really going to want to catch us. The visuals are going on this show. But if you're just, following us on social media, Instagram, Facebook at Third Shot Podcast, on Twitter at Third Shot Pod. So we really appreciate all your support out there. Bridgie and I, we mentioned earlier, we were really excited for our next guest because this guy has some of the best content online about pickleball. Miguel Enciso. He is the pickleball director at Westlake Athletic Club and the head pro at Sherwood Country Club. Miguel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much, guys. Yeah, Sherwood Country Club, by the way, future home of that MLP event in November.
Oh, well, we're going to talk a
that's
little
a
bit
good
about
plug.
that.
excited. Yeah, very excited about that. And Westlake Athletic Club is exploding with members, and it's just I get to play at two of the greatest places here in Southern California. So exciting.
That's
And
excellent.
the MLP event will be an absolute blast, a pickleball party. The MLP, the energy of the MLP event, it's so exciting, the rally scoring and everything. So I think it'll just be a big party, slightly different from what we're used to on the courts with PPA and the scoring and everything, but it's a very exciting format. So we're excited.
Well, let's toast to the party that's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pickleball party.
pickleball party. I always say, ain't no party like a pickleball party,
There
baby.
you go.
Cheers.
Woo.
So
Now
Miguel.
the party has begun. Yes, Briggy,
Yes.
talk to me, baby. Talk to me.
So usually to kick us off, we always ask our guests how they get started with pickleball. But in our intro segment, we had this really fun conversation around everyone's first crushes. So we thought we'd ask you, who was your first crush?
Oh man. Now, like when I was young, I don't know. I mean, I'm an old guy, but back in the day, like when I had a poster in my room, does anybody remember the Raquel Welch in the
Oh,
bikini, in the sort of fur bikini from her movie 1 Million BC? I mean,
yes.
when I think as a kid, I loved Raquel Welch. She was beautiful. She was, she was just a sex symbol back in the day, and I think I was mesmerized by that. And I remember when you guys were talking, I was like, gosh, who was my first crush? And so I'm thinking about when I was young. I think one of my older brothers, who by the way introduced me to pickleball, was the one that had that Raquel Welch poster up. But
So were you
now I
sneaking into
always
your
say,
brother's room just to look at the Raquel Welch
well,
poster?
we all listen. I came from a big family, so the three boys in my family, my two brothers and myself, we all stayed in one room, and I had 8 sisters.
Oh, wow.
So
I'm having a vision. I'm having a vision. What Raquel? Oh,
drama. Now that's
there she
good, guys.
is.
You guys are good. I like that.
Now the legend
Oh,
has it. Well, they were filming this movie. In the first scenes that they were filming, when she's wearing the outfit, very revealing outfit, it's a certain length. And as the movie goes on, the costume gets smaller and smaller and smaller because they want to show more and more of Raquel Welch, and that is the story of that movie. That's how they got so many
well,
people to watch it.
How funny.
well, remember too, in one of my favorite movies, Shawshank Redemption, there was that poster, and I want, and I say it's one of my favorite movies, but I remember it. I think it was Raquel Welch that the warden threw the rock through, and discovered
Oh,
that
the hole, the tunnel.
that the prisoner Andy, oops, excuse me, that Andy crawled through and everything. Yeah.
That is a
So
great
little
piece of
movie
trivia. I
Easter.
did not remember
Yeah.
that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
mentioned your brother introduced you to pickleball. Tell us this story.
Well, 40 years ago. I mean, our sport has been around since the mid 60s. And when I was 20, in my mid 20s, not even, maybe 21, 22, so over 40 years ago, we're a big basketball family. And my brother was a heck of an athlete, God rest his soul. But my brother came home, Alfie, he came home all excited. I've just been playing this game called pickleball on the rooftop of the Glendale YMCA in Glendale, California.
Whoa.
And we all kind of looked at him and said, yeah, yeah, whatever. And no lie, the next day he was out with a sledgehammer taking down our basketball hoop that we had in our modest backyard. And he talked my dad into 2x4s and concrete. And we extended our little concrete pad for shooting hoops into a pickleball court. I think we had an old volleyball net. And we literally, on one side was a slope that went down to our pool equipment. Again, I want to let you know it was a modest home. We were in a densely populated area. How my dad got a pool in there, I don't know. But on the other side, our fanny imprints were in the chain link fence because we were right up against the fence waiting for a deep serve. And we had some of the most ferocious games back then. Everyone was coming to the house, and then we would go, we'd play all summer long. I worked for a television show back then, and we always had summer hiatuses. So I had a lot of time off, and we would play pickleball and then jump into our pool and play some wicked games of what we called PBA, which was Pool Basketball Association. And I'm surprised no one got hurt or drowned or died playing any of those sports. But then years passed, and I moved out to, I got married. I lived in New York City for a little while and worked on the '84 Olympic Games, and came out, got married, had some kids, and was fortunate enough to have a big backyard with a big basketball court. And I put in holes for pickleball posts because I still wanted my kids to enjoy the game, and they never took to it. Things went on, and we moved out of that house, and my son came home during college and said, Dad, I'm bored. Do you still have that pickleball equipment? Said, sure thing. We went to our local elementary school. We spray painted chalk lines on the parking lot. We played there, and he went back off to school. And then one day I was walking my two dogs at a local community park right up the road. And I was like, what are all those people doing on one side of a tennis court? And I went in there were 5 people playing pickleball, and they were like, hey, this is pickleball. I go, yeah, I know. And I jumped in. They begged. I mean, think about the atmosphere of pickleball now. Courts are exploding. People, there's just a million people playing. 5 years ago, I was on 4 pickleball courts, and they had 4 people, and they were begging me to play because they couldn't get enough people to come on a Saturday. And I said, I'm so there. And I have a personality. If you haven't guessed already, I love people. I love our sport. I had tons of equipment. And anyone who poked their head through the gate, I'd say, come on in. Here's a pickleball paddle. This is the pickleball, blah, blah, blah. And we grew that community, my wonderful first family of pickleball, the Deer Hill Park, the Oak Park, California community, from 6 and 8 original gangsters to over 200 people on that mailing list.
Wow.
And I was the ambassador there for a long time. And one of my students said to me, I was working for the community parks, teaching the great sport of pickleball. And one of my students said, hey, my husband is down at Westlake Athletic Club, and they're thinking of putting in dedicated pickleball courts at Oak Park and at Deer Hill. We had multi-use, courts with lines
Right.
for tennis and for pickleball. Well, I beelined it down to Westlake Athletic Club, met the wonderful general manager there, John Sutcliffe, who took me out. way out to the courts. The orientation of the tennis courts was north-south. There was one court that had an east-west orientation. Tennis players hated it, and it was right next to the lake. And I said,
Oh,
how did you talk the tennis players out of this court? And he said they hated it because they're looking up in the sun.
Right.
And so, to our benefit, had 4 courts there. We've expanded to 8. My friends over at Sherwood Country Club, the tennis now racket director there, reached out to the tennis pro at Westlake and said, "Who's running your pickleball program?" And then she invited me over to do some clinics, and it has just been a wonderful. I mean, I count my blessings every day. How lucky I am to be the director at one, and the head pro at the other, and two magnificent places, and two just come on. I'm living the life.
You sure are.
I'm
And
living the
pickleball,
pickleball life.
you are.
Oh,
And
we're gonna get to
pickleball's been a
that.
part of your life for such a long time, it sounds like. And it's fantastic that now you get to be so immersed in it as well as the culture of it. When did you start at Westlake Athletic Club, and what's your experience been so far?
I've been there for 6 years. I literally, when I walked out there with the general manager, the nets weren't even on yet. Had been painted, but the program was just starting. So 6 years ago, I became the pickleball director there. And our membership, I think we had 40 or 50 memberships. So that could be husband and wife or a family. So you think maybe 60 to 70 people, and now we're over 200, and kind of putting the brakes on membership because we just
Too many.
don't have them
You
we
can't
don't
fit
have a
them
lot of
all.
places. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
tennis community at Westlake is booming, the pickleball membership, and we get the tennis members, have access to the pickleball courts and making reservations and coming out to see us for our open plays. And so we are hosting, probably 300-400 people each week.
Wow, that's a
Yeah, we
lot of
have we have
play.
we have a Wednesday night open play and a Friday night open play where we get 2 sessions. We get to limit how many people are there so they get more games in. But and then we just had our recent, we try to do events and fun things. And we had our 2-2 Tuesday event. I did some postings on that. Once a year, maybe twice sometimes, but this year, 2023, only one Tuesday fell on the 22nd. So it was a 2-2 Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody got a chance to actually see your post, but your legs look fantastic in your tutu, and you're doing videos in your tutu. So, Russ, in a tutu, your videos and everything, you've looked so good in your pink tutu doing your spins. What's the proper term for a spin and dance? I should know this. My daughter's dance.
Isn't it a pirouette?
A pirouette.
That
You were
sounds
doing
right.
some pirouettes at the net
I
with
was,
your pink tutu. Oh my gosh. Good stuff.
and you'd
Good
be
stuff. And this is
surprised,
just
Uncle Greg.
this is just a little indicator of the type of content you put out, right? Tell
You
everybody
know,
what kind of time and effort do you put into the content that you put out there on social media, because it's not just on Instagram, it's in YouTube as well too. So we get to see videos of you.
there's tons of videos out there. I was lucky, my wife's a teacher, and during the COVID days, um, I would we couldn't go anywhere, and wanted to keep my group over at that Deer Hill area entertained. And so while my wife was teaching digitally, I was like, I got to do something. I'm needless to say, I have a lot of energy, and so I had to do something. So I started doing videos, and I started this whole thing of Pickleball Anonymous. That I'm on the phone with an operator who's saying, Miguel, everybody's going through it, blah blah blah, and then I would get discovered. Oh, hey everybody, sorry, I was on the phone with Pickleball Anonymous. And I started, I mean, I feel like a lot of my videos have some educational value in terms of our sport. I lost the light there, but that's okay. Um, and so I thought that they had some educational value, but I also have a certain sense of humor where I try to just you want to give the students something to visualize, something that they can put, visualize as an instructor. And so I try to do that in my videos, and I've been uh, so I have a lot of content out there, and I put all these videos on my YouTube channel, and they weren't getting a lot of traction. And somebody said, Miguel, you need to go on Instagram, and they helped me out. I'm an old guy, Briggy. I like I do Facebook, and they're like, yeah, nobody does Facebook anymore. So I did my Instagram, and one day I posted a video. I do this 3-ball. I was like, how do I get people to stay active while you're sitting at home or you're in your garage? And I just did some instructional videos about how to do it.
Just to give everybody a visual, you hang 3 balls off your garage door with string, and you're dinking, in a sense, you're hitting them and swinging all 3 at the same time in unison and keeping the rhythm going. And it's a really cool video. I love it.
Well, and then I started, of course, when you're in your garage, sometimes, then we got to the point where it was raining and you can't go out and play here in Southern California for the most part. There's not a lot of indoor places. But I then would sing songs, rainy days and Mondays always get, and I would do montages. And then the sun came out, and it was like, here comes the sun, do 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 do. And when it's too windy here, you can't play. So there's a lot of windy songs, dust in the wind, who's walking down the streets of the city, everyone knows it. So I just started doing all of these things, and I was doing 3 balls. And one day I said, well, could I do 4 balls? And I ended up doing 4 balls. And I have, on my YouTube channel, I have a thing called four pickleballs, 1 paddle. And I said, gosh, nobody really saw that on YouTube. So I posted it on my Instagram. And it just kind of like was one of those things, like people were like, oh, that's cool. And, and so it kind of becomes a thing. And I try to do it once a week. And after a while, in my opinion, it's tough to come up with pointers, because the sport, although the sport has changed in some respects, I think dramatically from 6 years ago. I mean, the difference in how you play, and how fast everything is, and how great the paddles are, and responsive the paddles are than 6 months ago, let alone 5 years ago. So I as much as the sports change, teaching it, after a while you go, gosh, what new things could I bring to you guys? And so I'm always looking for that. But I think this 4-ball or 3-ball, sometimes 3 balls, I don't want to brag, but 3 balls are real. There I am.
Oh, look. Oh my gosh.
Sometimes it goes south on me. But,
for all of our YouTube watchers right now, we got Miguel actually doing the 4-ball video. And look at you go. That takes
That looks
talent.
tough.
Yeah, that's some
one day
skill.
I'm going to get some of the pros to try to say, hey, you think life, you think I can't stay up with you guys, but try this 4-ball thing. And like I said, sometimes it goes south on me, and sometimes that makes it almost more entertaining. But believe it or not, Uncle Greg, I kind of, once I set it up and set the camera up, I just go at it. And, maybe it's 1 or 2 takes, but sometimes it's just 1 take, and I kind of look around and go, that was pretty good. So then I let
For good cut.
Yeah, he's a pro.
We got it. Well,
but
there's
I
so
do
much
love it
more,
so.
Miguel, that we want to get to. There's so much more to what you're doing in the pickleball community and how you're entertaining people and teaching people. So we got to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to have more with Miguel and Ciso. And again, be ready for more entertainment. We got a little music coming your way. Hold on.
Ooh, I like it. Another
Welcome
one
back
back.
to Third
Oh,
Shot
sorry.
Podcast. You're totally fine. We've got a very special guest today. We have Miguel and Ciso. He is a pickleball director, a head pro, an ambassador, a songwriter. He does it all in the pickleball world.
Welcome
Nice
back,
guy.
Miguel. You were mentioning, when we were coming back, the lights went out. Lucky thing, it's not last call, and we can still take shots. So,
There we go.
I'm ready. Oh boy,
cheers.
this is going to be an exciting second part of the.
Well, I know, right? That's why we do it. There's
I
there's
like
no lack of entertainment.
There
Cheers.
we
to
go.
you guys.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh, yeah.
I was
You've
thrilled.
got so many fun videos online right now, and the content that you make, it's not just there to teach people pickleball, but I really do think that it helps people fall in love with the game and see the fun side of the sport. So you do have a very popular song that's out in the internet world. Can you share with us what that song is called and how you came about it?
Thank you for all of those kind words. I love this sport, and I love spreading the joy and passion of pickleball. And I really do think it helps so many people get social. I think it's an important part of our lives. But back in the day, I fancied myself a country western writer, not a singer by any stretch. And about 5 years ago, there was a pickleball song that was made a little headway. Some older gentleman with his grandkids wrote a song, and I listened to it, and I said, I had been writing some country western songs that are on my YouTube channel. One was an award winner, by the way, but we won't
Wow.
get into that just yet. But anyway, I had some friends in Nashville who I wrote the words, and I go, here, put music to them. Here's the melody I hear in my head, and I wrote the Pickleball Life. The rhythm of that plastic ball can be so darn bewitching. No stress, no strife, just paradise, and don't volley in the kitchen. And so I told my friend, I said, hey, this is going to break all the songwriting rules. I said, I've got two different choruses. I said, I've got three verses, all the rules that they say, oh, you can't do that. That'll never be a hit song or whatever. Not that I was looking for this to be a hit song. I was lucky that my guy in Nashville made it work. He had a session singer who has some notoriety. He was on The Voice.
Oh,
He was on Adam Levine's team back in the day, and
okay.
he sang the song that you hear on that I lip sync on my YouTube channel. I think you're gonna listen to it right
Yeah,
now.
well, let's share with everybody. Let's Pickleball Life.
Let's go, partner. Paddle up. The rhythm of that plastic ball can be so darn bewitching. No stress, no strife, just paradise, and don't volley in the kitchen. You can play on Sunday morning or Thursday night at 6. The players gather anytime to get their pickle fix. I love my kids, I love my dogs, and I sure do love my wife. I love the sound of the ball to paddle. I love the pickleball life.
That's my song.
All right.
When I sent it to my friend in Nashville, one of my favorite stories about this silly song is I called him. I knew that they were recording the vocals with this gentleman who has a great voice, and he actually is the voice of some of my other songs on my YouTube channel. And I called and I said, hey, Gary, by the way, great producer in Nashville named Gary Carter. just the sweetest, most giving, loving man. Just, I said, hey, dude, I know nothing about music. You just, help guide me. And he just was so kind. And anyway, I called him and said, Gary, how did it go? He goes, well, I'm sitting here with the singer. And he says, and I could kind of tell they were a little toasty. They were a little, they had a little bit, right?
Kind of like us right now.
Yeah,
A little
right.
bit, right? And you send them a lyric sheet, and I sent them a lyric sheet, and I wrote, and the day's over in a blink, and it has you reminiscing. I sure could use a stiff dink, right? I wanted to make sure they said it. It's very specific, a stiff dink, not and. Oh, it went well. The session went well. And he goes, we just have one question for you. And I said, yeah, what? He goes, what the hell's a stiff dink? And I said, oh, that's a shot we use. And so they enjoyed it. I don't know if Gary and the singer ever got to play pickleball, but Nashville is a hotbed for pickleball. So it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff.
Yeah. So, while you're doing your dancing and your air guitar, you had multiple, paddles going, and I recognize these paddles. These are the kind of the latest things out there from Komodo Pickleball. And I play the katana. Bridgie plays the katana as well. We love the paddle, but we haven't tried the ones you're holding up. Tell us a little bit about those Furies.
Well, yeah, listen, David's got three, Dave Milo, who is the president of Komodo Pickleball. Back in the, not too long ago, I reached out to David as the instructor and the director over at the Westlake Athletic Club. My introduction to Komodo was I saw an ad about
The
pickleballs.
balls. Yeah.
And so I said, hey, I'd be interested in getting our club to buy some balls. Can you send them to me? And lo and behold, I called Komodo and Dave picked up, which I loved. And I was like, wow. And anyway, he sent some balls out to us and ended up liking some of the things I was doing on Instagram and social media, and asked me to become a rep for Komodo, and I loved it. I loved Jessica and David are terrific people, and I love that small company. I'm a big believer in small business, and I hope David grows into a huge business.
Yeah, but
But
great family atmosphere with that company, and they really
Mhm.
treat everybody that way. So it
and
doesn't surprise me that he answered the phone.
yeah, and it's so funny. I used to be a representative of different paddle for a while, and just calling. I see on my phone Dave Milo, and he picks up, or when I call Dave Milo on my phone and he picks up, I just was like, wow. And I used to represent a different company, and I was like, Dave called and said, hey, I'd be really interested in having you rep our paddles. And I said, send them to me. I'm a big supporter of local business and small businesses, and I hope Komodo becomes a big business. But, I said to Dave, no lie, I said, Dave, you need to make a shirt with your Evolve 8 logo. And guess what Dave did? He made a shirt out of this logo. And I just sat there and go, gosh, here's somebody that listens, like respects me and listens to me. And I love this. I love the company. And so I know there can't, of course, I've got my katana as well. I love my katana.
Oh yeah, we do
I play.
too.
Oh yeah, it curls the ball pretty well. But David's got, so that the katana is 16 millimeter. The Fury is the 16 millimeter with the long handle, and I've been playing with this a lot as well. But my members at the club are using the 13 millimeter with this is the short handle one, the blue one, and the long handle one is the gray, just the gray. And if you want power, I'm going with the 13 millimeter. I like the longer handle. For reasons I don't really do a two-handed backhand, but I like the longer handle. And I've always been more about trying to touch and and have a little bit more control. And for my resets, I'm not worried too much about power. So I like the thicker 16 millimeters. And it was funny. And by the way, I got to give David a plug for the best junior paddle. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes.
the Evolve Junior is just a wicked. We're getting ready to do a kids camp at Christmas time at the club, and I'm looking forward to introducing this to young people. I have 4 grandchildren, but 2 are ready to play, and they're excited about getting Grandpa to give them their new Evolve Junior paddle. Um, but I got to tell you, and this is the truth. I was drilling with a friend who had one of the popular names, and we were using a ball machine, and we were working on resets, and the ball, he seemed to be doing well with it, and I said to myself, gosh, here I know what I want a reset to look like, but I got to remember if I can do a reset. So I got on the other side of the ball machine with his paddle, and I felt like I was resetting well. And I said, well, let me try my own katana paddle. I mean, the speed of the ball was coming the same direction, so it was sort of one of those lab tests that had very
Right.
equal, whatever, equal. Help me with a word.
Like equal, consistent speeds
Yeah,
coming
it was
at
a
you
very
with both
consistent. It
paddles.
wasn't me hitting the ball to him; it was the
Right.
ball machine. And I brought out the katana, and I'm telling you, the Kevlar just deadened the ball. And I was like, wow. I mean, I'm hitting it the same way with his paddle as I am with the katana, and really being able to deaden the ball. Some of the feedback I get about the katana is that you have to generate a little bit more of your own power, but boy, oh boy, oh boy, the reset and the really taking the air out of the ball for me, the katana has been great. And again, I do love my Red Fury because it's the thicker paddle, and I just feels like I have a lot of power, a lot of control. So that's my review of the katana and Komodo stuff. I mean, listen, Dave's got Dave's got the pink. I mean, I love my pink. I love my pink tutu. I love my Dave's got more and more. They're getting more and more gear going as well. So that's good. And I'm telling you, and this is I love the Komodo ball. I mean, it really does hit like the Dura, in my opinion, and it doesn't crack like that other ball that we all know.
Right.
I always, I told Dave one of these days I'm going to do a video that says, say goodbye to your ex and say hey to the K, because the Komodo pickleball I do love.
For our followers, I do want to give you an opportunity to let everybody know where they can go to find more of your amazing videos and episodes and songs. Where's the best spot for them to find any of this?
You're so kind. Well, listen, on YouTube, it's just my name, Miguel Enciso, Enciso. If you Google the Pickleball Life and Miguel, I'm sure it'll come up. And then on Instagram, I'm Miguel.pickleballcoach.
I encourage everybody, go check out some of Miguel's content, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram. It's so much fun. And like you said, Miguel, super informative. We didn't get to the coaching part of what you do because it was so entertaining talking about your life and everything you got going on. We'll definitely have you back. We'll talk some more, and maybe we'll get into a little bit of the coaching that you do because I'd love to get some tips.
Well, I hope I can shed light. I hope it was entertaining. You guys are the best. I know I yak a lot, but thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. And thank you, Russ, for all your hard work and behind the scenes. Be well, guys, and always, always love.
Paddle up, everybody. And thank you for joining us on Third Shot. Bridgie and I will continue to share our pickleball journey. A special thanks to Miguel. He was so much fun. Great content, great coach. If you have an opportunity to go down to Southern California, look him up. He'll be happy to have you at one of his clubs and show you around. Again, It's at Miguel.pickleballcoach on Instagram, and just look up Miguel and Enciso on YouTube, and you will find all of his content, not just his songs, but he's got so much else as well. Support this show by subscribing, and we promise to have more amazing guests just like Miguel on Third Shot future episodes. Let's continue to share our enjoyment for the game and grow this pickleball community, everybody. Let's get together and do this. See you next time on Third Shot Podcast.